Okay, Willie, welcome to my office.
Yeah, mate.
Decided to have this little get together and involve the people along.
Yep.
We've been talking about it for a while, so it's we really believe that the mindset is just as important as what the fitness is.
100%. And it's quite funny that we've been talking about this recently to each other. We speak a lot. Greg's been my mindset coach, and it's just amazing how it's easy to be a coach, it's easy to train, but if your mind isn't in the right place, that's the big difference there. So this is why we've brought in the mindset coach today, and just to be able to educate and help others to hear about this.
Interesting, because it's so many people think it's just fitness, right? They come along to you and they want to get fit, or they want to maybe lose some weight or whatever it is, but they get into it for a while, and guess what happens? What's most probably your biggest hassle that happens with people that come all enthusiastic, they're all fired up and really want to get in shape or whatever. They've had this great spurt in the mind to say, oh, this is what I want to do. What do you find happens with a lot of people?
Yeah, well, it's definitely like that honeymoon period. They're all excited. They want to get into the exercise. They want to make change. They're not happy with where they are, and they want to make a difference, which is great. And they've already got that good mood, the good mindset for it. After a while, the hard work or the early mornings or the cold days, the wet days, the stormy ones, it's amazing how the mind starts to play tricks, or the body's a bit fatigued. That's where I really notice is you lose consistency with either clients or with people in general. Yeah, whether it's sports teams, whether it's athletes, whether it's just your everyday mum and dad as well.
Yeah, that's actually, it's so true. I've been guilty of it myself over time. One of the big things that really, when I found out what was going on there, was when I really found out more about myself, who I am as a person. And funny enough, everybody would say, what do you mean, Greg, you know who you are and that? Well, if you really have a look in the mirror and actually ask yourself some questions, you'll find that you look at your results and you find out if you're not happy with your results, it's more than likely there's something going on that you aren't aware of about yourself. So the sooner you get to know who you are as a person, then all this stuff starts helping. So for instance, yours there, why do they come along? They're enthusiastic, they want to get into it, and then after a while it dies off and that. Well, they don't know who they are and what their program is and how the program's running. And at the end of the day, most people don't realise we are running on programs. It's our own program, no different to the computer. We got a program that's running, and if things don't align with that program, it's easy to fall out of it. So, with your coming along, want to get fit, great idea. Want to lose weight, great idea. My health, I just really want to work on my health. Well, straight away that you really need to realise, you need to know about yourself, what's going to happen, and that has to start with the mindset, how you're thinking about yourself, and that comes back to what is actually driving you, which is your program. So your program's going to go along with it. At first, your program's going to say, this is great, let's go, let's get fit. We'll see Willie's an awesome guy to actually help us get this done, right? And they get into it, but after a while, the program starts kicking in and starts saying, you know what, I don't think it's a bit wet today, I don't really feel like getting out there. And you know what, this bed's nice and warm, I don't really want to get out of here. What is that? Well, people beat themselves up about this, right? But the point is, it's really a mindset. It's their program kicking in. The program's saying, no, you don't want to get fit. You don't want to lose weight. You don't want to get healthy. You're fine where you are. And this little chatter keeps on going. And this is the big thing that gets into these people that makes that happen. Yeah. So what about the people that you find really come along and stick with it? What about those guys?
Me personally, I know that it comes down to always keeping it interesting, always inspiring, motivating, changing it up, having that variety. And that's what me personally, that's what I do love, is that variety in workout sessions, trainings, whether it's running. And I think that's where you've really got to keep it interesting for any client, any team, any member, just to be able to keep their mind shift. Otherwise, they just fall into the routine. and I'm just getting up, going along. But routine is great as well, but it can be a bit of a killer too.
Yeah.
So it's just having that variety, I feel, because it keeps it fresh for their mind, I feel. And thanks to Greg, I've learned a lot about myself this last 3 years that I've been sort of in and out, and the programs that's been running in my own mind for many years that I didn't even really know about. I've always thought that I've been very disciplined, loved the training, which I do. But hey, we all have those little conversations within our heads, and I do it all the time. Or, oh, is that a niggle? Is that an injury? What is this? And I just feel that that's our mind, sort of that program that you were talking about. No, just stay comfortable. But I always love to just use get comfortable, getting uncomfortable. I've stolen it from CrossFit. But getting out of your comfort zone, and that's where I feel on that one.
So one of the things that what really drives you in the way of, because you're pretty motivated and you love what you do, right?
Yeah.
And guess straight away there, that's Willie's program. He enjoys it because he gets a good result, and so that's going to keep you wanting to keep on doing the same thing. Obviously, I never saw you as a rugby player, but you're quite a fast player from what I understand, and you're a good player. So those are all sorts of things that get into your program that says, this is what I'm good at. I really enjoy this. How can I get more of it, right? So you've gone into fitness, and obviously you look after yourself, and you keep yourself there. So, what I'm getting at is your program has always been about fitness, feeling good, and you get good results from a young age. You got good results for what you did. You played for Silverdale. You were only a young guy, obviously, when you moved in there, and you played for the seniors. And you often tell a story about, how you got a runaway try. You didn't touch the ball. You didn't know what was going on, but at the end, you run away. You got the try, and in that moment, you realised, wow, I've got something here. So those are the sort of programs that start sticking in, and then you start following through, which would be a lot to do with who you are today, would you?
Yeah, well, on that, it's just amazing how certain circumstances in life or events, and mine was just a intercept runaway try. Very nervous, and just got that one moment, and then that self-belief just kicked in. So it's just amazing how, if I had had a bad game that day, or if I didn't touch the ball, if I had just been just a passenger the whole day, my whole career could have been a whole lot different from that one experience. But because I had one positive experience, and just around things like, I'm getting close to 50 now, people go, oh, you must train all the time. And it's like, I've just stayed consistent over all these years. I don't train extra hard yet. I'd still like to train a bit harder. But it's I've just done small deposits over time, and that's been that consistency that's just kept me in pretty good health and feeling good about myself the majority of the time. Yeah.
So you obviously feel the benefit of what the fitness does for you, right? So would it be fair to say that that's why you like helping other people become fit and healthy and that?
100%, because I know what it's like, and I see and I hear, and I've got the friends and family or guys anywhere around the world that, guys and girls, sorry, but it could be the dad bods, all these kind of things, or just starting to have those niggles, injuries, and certain events that have built up over time but they haven't known, and next minute people are feeling sick and having health problems. And well, this is the thing that we're just trying to avoid. I'm just trying to have and help others to have is a better longevity in their lives, keeping mobile, strong, fit, healthy, right down to mindset. And that's where I'm just trying to use the stuff that you've given me over the years to be able to help others. And if you want to take it to another level, come and see Greg, because it's amazing. If we get this right first, everything else is so much easier to get into.
Yeah, it's interesting because what you're saying about fitness, I often when B and I have heard you, and I've heard you talk about fitness, how important it is. But for me as a mindset coach, look at it and say, well, okay, where was really it begins with the mind. That's your fitness and everything really begins. That's where it starts. And this is unfortunately where a lot of people don't realise this. They think, oh well, I better go and get fit. Sure, when you take action, then you're changing the vibration of your body, and it does help.
Yep.
But it's a little bit like having a lot of people most probably forget the days of manual cars. But if you ever had a flat battery in the old days, if you had a bit of a hill, you'd let it run and then you'd kick start it, which means you'd put it in gear and then let the motor actually start the motor and get it going. Now, if that battery was flat, that would go all right for a while, but then the car would liably stop somewhere down the road. Mindset's the same as what you're talking about right here. Is if you want to get fit, you go out and it's great, you have a run around, you think, oh gee, I really feel good. But if the mind and the program isn't in line with that, meaning if you haven't set a goal and a real intention of what you want to get out of your fitness, well, guess what's going to happen? At some stage, which you obviously witness a lot of, is people are just not going to turn up. They're going to say that one day, oh, well, I couldn't make it today. Something happened. And you ended up rationaling lies, which is telling lies to yourself about reasons why you couldn't be there, right? And then you cut out. So it's very similar. It's the number one thing is like you with your fitness, you scored the try. What happens is in that time, that changed everything for you, for your belief, your confidence in yourself, and your program, right? And so how did that happen? Well, what happens is this program that I'm talking about is really your beliefs and habits. We've all got them. That's humans. That's what we're born with. When we get it from our DNA coming through our history of our grandparents and that. But we also, in that first 7 years of our life, that's where the program's set. It's very much like your computer, laptop you buy today. There's not a program in there. You have to actually you buy the computer or the laptop and then you put a program into it. We're absolutely no different, right? So you've got to put that program in there. What is that program? In the first 7 years of your life and what's come down through your ancestors, there's already a program in there. And that first 7 years or whatever's happened then has really gauged you about your beliefs and habits and who you're going to be from now on through. Now, everything from there on, sure, your friends, your environment and everything's going to change certain habits and that. But there's a few core ones down there that are real. They're never going to move until you become aware of them. So all these things that you're talking about, how do you change that? So what we do is we have a little diagram. In fact, I'll grab it here.
Love this gold that's happening here right now.
This here is what we call a stick person. Now, Dr. Thurman Fleet back in 1934, he was a holistic healer. So he was into healing the body, but also he believed the body was really run by the mind. So the clients or the patients needed to know about how the body all works and how the mind works. But like he said, there was no picture of the mind. Everybody sees the brain as the mind, and really the brain is no more the mind than the fingernail, and yet the fingernail and the brain are all part of the mind. In fact, with you, Willie, you know damn well that the muscle, everything's got memory. It's got the mind's in everywhere. But he come up with this picture, this one here, and we use it as a diagram to see how the mind works. And it's a simplistic, we call it the magic Jenny, or otherwise the stick person. And what he drew this big circle around the top here, and he says, we'll call that the mind. And then what he did is he put this line through the middle, and he says the top half here we'll call the conscious mind, the bottom half we'll call the subconscious, and this little round circle, which we all see as the biggest part, is the body, right? And these little antennas up here, they're sensory factors, the basic sensory factors that the information comes in. Hear, see, smell, taste, touch. So what's happening with your fitness and all this type of thing? You've come up with the idea of, I want to get fit. And it's all wonderful. But what you don't realize is the program down here that was sitting around for quite some time not getting fit. All right? It was the one that was eating the pies and enjoying the parties and having the few drinks, right? And the results were coming out here was with your body. What comes out here is we call the body as the instrument of the mind. So whatever's going on in this program is what your results are giving you. And what happened is through your sensory factors, you looked at your results and thought, wow, I'm putting a bit on, or man, I'm out of breath. You know, I need to get fit. Oh, well, let's go to Willie. So the idea comes up in here. Let's go to Willie, but the program down here is still saying, you know what? I enjoy my bed. It's nice and warm. You know, and that Willie, he makes us run around and do things that we don't really not used to doing, and the body tells me it doesn't like that. The actual body's saying is we haven't run that program for a while. You know, it's time. When you were young, you'd run all the time, but you'd forgotten as you got older. You've forgotten that. So the program down here starts saying, you know, why are we going up early in the morning and doing these runs, or why are we meeting with Willie and listening to what he's saying? The paradigm down here, the belief. The paradigm is what we call the multiple sources of beliefs and habits. So paradigm starts saying, you know what, we're not doing this. And that's the morning they don't turn up to your Willie. And so that's really, this is the whole idea of how the mind works. Now, is it a stick person like that? No, it's not. It's, as Willie knows, your body's got habits, your muscles have got habits. All the mind is through the whole body, to be honest. And the interesting thing is how do you look at that? Well, if you go to brush your teeth and you've always done it a certain way, try it tomorrow night or tonight. Swap your hand. If you're doing some writing, if you write with a right hand, swap over and write with your left hand. Try that for a while. That is exactly like you've decided to get into fitness. Now I'm going to go and see Willie. You can see it's going to behave the same way. The body's going to feel, oh, I feel, you know, you might feel good after it's finished and say, oh yeah, I need to do this every day. But the next morning or 2 days later, you're going to wake up and go, oh, you know, what am I doing to myself? And then the paradigm's going to say, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. You should get back to eating the pies or just relax on the couch and just watch TV for a bit longer. And next minute you're back into the old program. So this is what happens. So to succeed in your health and movement, you've got to start with a plan and got to realize it's not just going to be strength and it's muscle and breathing and everything else. You've got to start with a plan, and then you've got to make an absolute decision that this is the way I'm going to start operating, and then put that plan and say, right, this is the person I'm going to be. Because this is the other thing. When we talk about mindset, when we talk about becoming the fit person, when we become that thin person, we've got to start in our mind already living as that person, right? This is what happens. A lot of them come to you and think, well, I'll get Willie, will get me fit, and Willie will do this, and Willie will do that. It's not Willie. Willie's fantastic at showing you what you need to do. Your discipline and your behavior and who you want to become is the real trick between getting people to stay with the plan, or stay with and become fit and become a part of, get into that idea of how you do it. Now, a little bit there, I'm going on a little bit there, but the main thing I wanted to explain the stick person was about the day that you scored the try. What really happened is there's only two ways that you can change those habits, and that's constant spaced repetition. The same thing, a program over and over and over again, which means if you keep coming to training, after a while, you'll find, you know what, this is quite good. You get fitter, you're moving into it, but your actually paradigm is changing to a fit and healthy paradigm. There's another way that can happen, which is an emotional impact. Now, usually that's negative. A lot of people would know 9/11 when it happened there. Most people know what they were doing that day, but the people who were there and were affected by 9/11 with family, friends, or whatever, there was a huge, that can make a paradigm change. That can change beliefs and habits just like that. What happened with you when you scored that try, that was an emotional impact in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because what happened is that all of a sudden, within that moment, you were sitting there, like you said, you were a bit frightened and
scared.
You're only a young guy, and they'd thrown you into a senior pack of big boys and experienced players, and so you were like, what am I in for here, right? But you got a result. You grabbed the ball, you intercepted, you scored a try. Within that moment, you had an emotional positive impact.
Oh, yeah.
And it changed your paradigm like that. From one moment being, oh, what am I doing here? You know, this is scary. You know, these guys are big and they could kill me. You know?
Literally.
To all of a sudden is, I just blew them out of the park. I scored points at the other end. Wow. And that was, in that moment, was when it all happened.
Yeah.
So how do you do that in your fitness? Well, you got to find reasons that you really want this to happen. So if you're going to get fit and you want to get into Willie to help you and that, you've got to find a good reason. What is an emotional impact, or what is a good reason that you really want to make this happen? Start from there. And then when you go to give up, you understand the mind, how it works. And when you start to give up, you know damn well that paradigm is kicking in and starting to tell you, you know, I don't really want this. But what we want you to do is start building a new paradigm.
Well, that's good timing, because I do have two quick questions on that, quick fire questions. And it's, Greg, what's some things that we should stop doing right now with our mind? What should we stop doing around the mind stuff?
Running free. Just, you know, put a goal down. You got to write a goal. You got to have it down. Yeah, I was 40 years old before I been rugby. A goal, the only thing I knew was a goal was something you kicked a ball over. I didn't really realise. I knew I wanted to do things.
Yep.
But we didn't really, like, everybody's pretty familiar now these days, I think, now what a goal is.
Is goal setting.
What is your intentions? What are you here for, and what do you want to do? See, this is the thing, is about getting to know yourself. When you get to know yourself, you realise you have unlimited potential. Unlimited potential. We have, and I was 39 years old when I got this, and it was like, whoa, you know, I'd done pretty well up until then, but to realise now I have control of me. So this is one of the big things for you, and that intention is know that you absolutely have unlimited potential, and you are capable of achieving whatever goal in fitness. So that's it. So you've got to set a goal. So what do you want to achieve when they come to see you? I think it should be the first question you ask anybody that's saying, well, I've come to get fit. Why?
Yeah.
What reason? What reason are you here to get fit?
Yeah.
Because if I don't find out, this is for you to say, if you don't find out what reason they're there, their why they're at there, there's a good chance they're going to be given up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's because, as we said at the start, it's all around that hype at the start. It's that honeymoon period they're enjoying, but it's those. So, as I was saying, with what's the things that we should stop doing, or what's the things that we should start doing? So, start doing is by just setting that goal, finding out who you are. Yeah. And I guess for everybody out there, it's not just something that's easily thought of. It's best if they do get someone like yourself that can help them understand who they are and their reasons of why their program's been running the way it has, and getting to know who you are.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important part before starting any program. If they don't know who they are, it's hard to know where you really want to go and set the right goals, and what's the program that's been running you right now. And as you say earlier, it is great to do repetition, which you can change your program just by doing repetition. But if you can sort of speed track everything, if you find out a little bit about who you are, what program you've been running for a while now, or your whole life pretty much. Yeah. And so I mean, this is a great way to see Greg, or to catch up with him. I know that he's running workshops on a Wednesday night. Are those free online workshops that you're running on a Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, you can come on. It's a 90-minute webinar, and I explain pretty well, a little bit more detail about what especially the stick person, and different things that are happening. We've got terror barriers, which are different mindsets, which we've talked with Willie over at different times. But an interesting thing is actually that one there is Wednesday night. So if you go online, or it's got it at
what I'll do is I'll chuck it in the notes here anyway, so that we've got all these details.
Yeah, got it at .co.nz. So you go on there, and we do a 90-minute every Wednesday, so you can book time to come in and have a look at that. But one of the things I was going to ask you, Willie, is talking about what we're talking about here now. You've dealt with a lot of youth, right? Young guys. Now, about what you were just saying about getting to know yourself, you know that really a lot of the issues with those young guys is they don't really know who they are. You know, you as an older person, I guess, you can see the potential that they've got, and you can see what they've got, and you've mentioned yourself being through down the same road as them, so it's really important. That's how you can understand these young guys and girls, where they're at, and that's so important that you understand how to talk to these people. But the big thing is what is it? The big problem is they don't know who they are. Why? Is because they're coming through this from childhood into adult, and this mixed up area of really they've been told what to do for years, and now it's all of a sudden their responsibility, and they're free spirits. And some of them, if they haven't had those first 7 years, that upbringing hasn't been with some sort of reasonable structure, you're going to have a little bit of an issue, because some of them don't handle it as good as others. And there's nothing wrong with them, as you know. It's just that they need some guidance, and you've been doing a great job.
I do love that, because a lot of people go, oh, what's wrong with that kid, or what's wrong with this person? And it's not what's wrong with them, it's what's potentially happened to them, what's happened in their past, or what hasn't happened. So it's just down to why I get so excited in that space is, yes, they're still young. Yes, it's easier to train to help them, to help their mindset shift at an earlier age. It's like us trying to learn a language at an older age. The older we are, the harder it is. So it's just trying to, yes, they have their programs, but I want everyone to be able to have the best success that they can for themselves. And success is defined by what they see as successful. Not what I see as successful. It's each individual, so that can mean a whole different range of things for different people. But it's just reality is, I want everyone to have a better, healthier life. So it's when I'm speaking with these youth, it's right down to healthy bodies, healthy relationships, healthy connections, healthy environments, sport, movement, games, just getting the body moving. We're with my good old friends Jeff Ellie and Nick Laurie as well, which I've been on their podcast, but they say motion is lotion, and I love the old movement is medicine. And sometimes just by engaging or taking action, that creates motivation. Like you said, the jump start in the car. Just get the car rolling, give it a bit of a jump start, and sometimes just getting out and moving and just walking. Could be running, could be swimming, it could be whatever floats your boat. It's just giving them a bit of a boost. But that's all I'm doing with the youth. It's just trying to get their mindsets and their bodies moving, and then healthier food and afterwards like that, just to try to give them the positive impacts that they're going to get from that environment, and understanding the language that we speak, about ourselves. That's negative self-talk. So as I was saying before, I was like, Greg, what's some things that we should stop right now, and what's some things that we should do right now? And stop would be that negative self-talk. And just getting into that healthier mindset. The words that come out of our mouth, or don't even come out of our mouth, but are already in our head, the stuff that we're saying to ourselves, or saying to others, or saying behind the backs of others, this is all the part of health. And yeah, I mean, we could go on forever, and this has almost been 30 minutes now, but I just wanted to be able to share some of this experience of the mind with Greg Jelas. Because you can be physically fit, but mentally, I'm not going to say, but messed up sort of thing. If you don't have a healthy mind, it's hard to have a healthy body. It's hard to have anything else. So it does really start with the mind to be able to do anything, right?
Absolutely, starts right there. And this is the thing, like the negative you're talking about, especially with the young ones, or anybody's got it. It comes from the program. If you're brought up in a negative environment, you're gonna keep attracting that same, because at the end of the day, we're just energy. You know, you talk about energy, you know, you go and burn energy and everything. Well, at the end of the day, everything is energy, right? And we're all at different vibrations and of that energy level. So, like you say, jumping up and down. Tony Robbins is, you know, one of the world top. You could call him as a motivator, but he's a very brilliant man. He works about state it's our state, our energy state. And when you go to his seminars, he has you up jumping and bouncing around. And after 5 days with him, you come out of there, you're really pumped up. You are really motivated. But why? Is because he's got you just like you. You know, get you out there, get that energy level up. And it's a little bit like pushing the car and getting it started. And then it'll keep going. The only thing is if the mindset isn't right behind it, if the program's against it, a little bit down the track, it'll actually it'll pull against it, and you'll find excuses. And this is exactly what happens. Everybody finds an excuse to get out of it. But yeah, no, it's been good.
Thank you very much, Greg. And it's just so cool to be able to share. We come from sort of different backgrounds at the same space, where he's coming from the mind, I'm coming from the physical training sort of side. But it's amazing how they do correlate and integrate together. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Greg wanted to share it as well. And it'd just be great to be able to, if you've got any questions, please reach out to us. And we can go deeper on that, or come along to his webinar on a Wednesday night online, which I'll drop this into the notes down below. But yeah, just what a way to start the day.
Perfect.
Thanks for the coffee, mate. It was all good to catch up.
Thanking you.
Cheers, brother.
Awesome.